And we're back for the third hour of this 7th episode of Hereticus. And the Inquisitors just left, and you're all alone in the conference room. Well, not exactly alone. You're with Trina.
Oh, so we're alone.
Okay, you're alone.
We can concentrate with her in there. The smell is horrible.
Well, as you might notice that the smell doesn't come from her.
No, it comes from Tim, I'm sure.
Yep.
Oh, I should have showered.
Does he in fact still smell?
Well, I imagine there's a whiff of rotten eggs.
I think just because I can, Medea sits beside Tim. Then she looks like witted out for a moment, then sniffs because she has heightened senses. Slowly leans into him, then retracts her head in horror with a "what the fuck?"
When does she do this?
After the Inquisitor has left, like they're talking, and then what? Ew!
Yeah, I didn't have time to shower.
Once while I was still in training, Sister Alicia came up to me and told me a story of one of her first deployments with the Imperial Guard. And she said that there was, during an assault on an enemy position held by, as I understand it, separatists and vile traitors to the God Emperor, there were a number of raw recruits amongst these guardsmen who had never fired their guns in anger before and who were slightly unnerved by the whole thing. And she described the smell spreading not unlike what we are experiencing now.
Tim, are you alright?
Yeah, just had some fun with Trina.
She smiles.
Medea looks from Tim to Trina, and she clearly makes the wrong connection.
I think
And
Francesca's...
Oh, your taste is weird.
I think Francesca's only reaction is to look to Trina, then back to Tim again, and very incredulously say, "Fun."
Well, no, but I apparently failed when I assumed this place was safe.
Ah, right. Well.
Medea looks at Trina and then goes, I can see that.
Well, the lesson there was, Tim, that no place in the galaxy is safe.
It has been noted.
The enemy of the Imperium is Legion, and they are varied in their wicked ways.
Well, I believe that unless anybody has any questions, this is right around the time where I should probably be receiving a rather large shipment, and I should put in a little more practice before we go back down there.
Indeed.
Ooh, what are you getting?
Weapons. And
Like
a helmet.
big thing?
And a helmet that I can use soon. What? Sorry?
Like big thing you already have?
Bigger.
It's, for a moment, there's a disconnect in Medea's head and goes, how are you gonna carry that?
Well, my armor would help me do that. It has its own power supply.
It makes you stronger?
Yes, it does.
Oh, makes sense then.
That's. I
For a
believe
moment
that-
there, I just thought you were insanely strong.
I wouldn't say that I'm physically weak, but no, not to that extent, no.
All Alright.
It is at least partly why it is referred to as power armor.
What do I know?
Well,
she
that is true.
gives Trina a look. I'm just an ignorant, right? It's pretty obvious by now that she realized what the fuck the word means, and she's very salty.
Medea,
Yeah.
you have knowledge that none of the rest of us in this group possesses. I should take it as a kindness if you did not refer to yourself as an ignorant anymore. You are better than that.
Yeah, Akelon nods.
She just
Disagree.
sighs.
Well, I think I'll best get moving. I have some eggs to wash out of my hair.
Yeah.
Indeed,
Stop running
indeed.
into eggs.
That the rest of us will be much grateful for the distinct lack of eggs, Tim. Definitely.
He nods to the rest of them, Trina included, and leaves.
Okay.
Come to the on the way out. She says, "Come to the shooting range afterwards."
Sure.
Okay, we can meet up there.
I'll make my way to the library.
You do that.
Akelon, before you go, could I have a minute?
Eggs.
Of course.
Thank you. Well, the others can leave now.
Yes. Well, Francesca doesn't need to be told twice.
Okay, so
Doesn't want to stay.
no, she doesn't want to be in the same room as Trina.
She never really had a teenage tantrum before, but I think she has one now.
Fair enough.
All I can say is, when I think of that woman, is I feel a growing lack of sympathy for her.
But I'm starting to wonder, though I felt no interest in seeing Akelon in the same kind of pain as Tim and the others, or Tim for that matter, I wouldn't mind seeing Trina in the same position.
She's probably already experienced it.
I guess she has.
Just before you even became a consideration for the Inquisitor. Okay, so you leave Tim to go take a shower, Sister Francesca to go check out her new toys,
Yeah.
and Medea to do what?
I'm sure she can show Medea all the many new toys if she wants to see them. Just no touchy.
Go somewhere where she can get something that looks like normal clothing.
Okay.
Because apparently her own weren't good enough.
Apparently. Okay, so Akelon, you stay behind then, I take it.
Yes,
Okay.
I've been
Oh,
told
he
to.
thieves!
Yeah. And Trina sits down beside Akelon and says, the Inquisitor asked me to convey her condolences.
Condolences.
You haven't heard the piety of Seth. Is it Seth or Seth? I don't remember. I think it's Seth, and that's me out of game.
It's Seth. Piety of Seth.
Piety of Seth. Okay. Was attacked a month or so ago, and thousands were killed.
I see.
Among them, the city where you.
Yes, Port Calling.
Yes.
It was the largest population centre. It was, after all, mostly still an agri-world. It would have been... Which enemy was responsible?
As far as the missives go, it was a traitor regiment.
Damn. Is the planet beyond recovery?
No.
Good. Then then they will prosper again one day, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It is tragic, but I thank you for informing me. I had some friends among the clergy there, but my parents were little more than strangers to me when I was taken, and my mentor, died many years ago. So my sadness is distant.
I understand. If there's anyone you would like me to inquire about, you can, I don't know, write down a list, and I'll inquire as to their fate.
Akelon smiles kindly but sadly and says, "No, thank you for the offer, but the piety of Seth is in my past. I think it best it remain there, and I do not dwell on it. I must look to a future of duty."
Admirable. Oh well. She stands up and looks down at Akelon, smiles, and then she leaves the conference room, leaving him alone.
Yes, and only when she has left, as Akelon looked down, realized the sensation of pain in his left hand, unclenches his fist and sees where his fingers have drawn blood, where they've dug into the palm.
Yeah.
And then and then gets up and makes his way to the library, while also, actually no. Before he goes to the library, he'll probably pop somewhere he can get his hands on a strip of cloth to tie his hand with.
Okay, that's not an issue at all.
No, I don't want to get blood all over those books. They're very important.
Yes, they are. Okay, cool. And then he goes to the library and does.
Welcome to the 41st Millennium, a place of wondrous machines of war, and where everybody has forgotten how to make a printing press.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's probably a good thing that it weren't Medea who came from that place, because she would just, find the registry and then hand it over to her. Here, inquire about everyone.
Oh dear. No,
Yeah.
it's goodness me. Yes, it's one of those. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. That's a good curveball, Heine. Well done. But no, I on the subject of the machinery, I love this universe so much, because it is so wonderful to have to spend 2 hours in fervent prayer to press a button correctly. And if even the slightest incantation is done incorrectly, the whole thing has to start again.
Yes.
And then some ignorant hiver comes along and just presses it anyway. It's infuriating. Anyway, let's move
Well,
on.
it explains why our machinery sometimes doesn't work.
Well, the
Yeah.
machine spirit's not feeling very cooperative.
Yeah.
Okay, so Medea, you went to fetch some clothing.
Yeah.
And that is also a trivial matter. You can absolutely get a fresh set of clothes. Nondescript, nothing fancy. Unless you want fancy, then it'll not be a trivial matter.
Well, what do we want? It's whatever they wear in the middle
Yeah,
life.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's simple enough. You get, in fact, you get a few sets, so you have something to change into. So that's not an issue at all. And Tim, what did you intend to do?
de-eggify.
De-eggify. So you go de-eggify.
Good expression, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
One
And,
last thing she asks the man for.
Hmm?
Do we have perfume?
The man, which in this case is the quartermaster, raises a hairless eyebrow and
Medea just smiles. She's serious.
and asks, after a few seconds of hesitation, asks, "Perfume?"
Something to make you smell less bad?
Go take a shower.
Something that helps when you can't?
I have soap.
That'll do.
chew on that.
He hands you a bar of
Just a
soap.
bar of soap.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then she'll go find a ribbon. Oh,
Okay.
whatever can constitute for a ribbon.
Sure.
Tie it up and place it in Tim's room.
Oh, so thoughtful.
There you go.
Well, she'll probably have the time, because after a day like that, I think Tim will take the time to just shower
Soak.
and soak and
Yeah.
relax.
Yep.
She can't write, so she won't leave him a card, but there you go.
Okay. Cool.
So fair off. Hopefully not on the floor, because then he'll just slip on it, he'll die, and she'll get blamed.
Yeah, and then she'll die.
And I
Like-
think he'll probably find it when he's about to leave for the shooting range.
Hmm.
Just pick it
Yeah,
up.
just nicely placed with a actually surprisingly good bow.
Yeah.
He just picks it up and looks at it, confused,
It,
and
it's
shrugs, assuming it's, I'd almost say room service.
Which
Well-
is a bit before.
well, room service up until now hasn't been a thing really. You've been provided food by a servitor, but that's really the extent of it. No one's been handing you soap or anything.
Well, first time
Yeah.
has to happen sometime.
Yeah, true enough. Okay, so
He's a bit too tired, I think, to really think that much about it.
that's fair. And then he eventually does make his way to the shooting range.
Yes, he did promise.
Okay. So, Sister Francesca,
Yes.
you and your toys.
Yay.
You enter the armory, where
Yes.
the quartermaster is. He's standing in front of what is basically a container, like a freight
Yeah.
container, and the doors are open, and he's standing there with the data pads, and
Yes.
basically checking that every item is accounted for.
Yes.
And inside the container are boxes, huge boxes. Well, of varying sizes, but.
Well, yeah.
And he, as he hears you approach, he turns his head to look at you and says, "Ah, Sister Francesca,
Sir.
you're not
This
here
is-
asking for perfume, are you?"
Oh, no, I'm
Good.
really not. I'm here asking for something with which to burn promethium.
Ah. Do I have good news for you then?
It looks like it.
Yes. Well, I take it you know the ins and outs, and when you can use things and when you can't.
Yeah,
So
I do.
what I imagine we do is we set aside a section of the armory for your gear, and then I trust that you are able to handle.
Absolutely. I will handle this with the utmost diligence and discretion.
Good.
These are, after all, the sacred arms of my order. I will be absolutely respectful of them.
Now, let's see what we have, shall we?
Oh yes.
And he he walks over to there's this a walker of sorts. It's a lifting walker that he uses to lift heavy crates, and he uses it to take out one of the boxes. It's one of the smaller ones, and he sets it down on the floor. Comes down from the walker and opens the box, and inside the box there is a this sounds there's another box, or not box, but a glass container inside which hovers a flamer as you requested. The container is it's glass or some kind of plasteel or something, something transparent, so you can actually see it. And you notice that in the bottom of the container is the mechanism that the stasis mechanism that causes the flamer to hover. And also there are various seals with holy scripture on them, basically purity seals of a sort. And
these are these are holy weapons. So she is very reverential as she takes it out. There's no oh my god, I have to open this right now. There's nothing like that. She treats this with the respect that it needs to be treated with.
Yeah.
But she does have a glint in her eye.
Well, and there is a sort of ceremony to it when you're forced to break these seals to open the container.
Correct
And
prayers in the right order, and so on.
Exactly. And then you you take out the flamer.
And I assume that there is a measure. I mean, obviously the Prometheum you can get reloads of anywhere, but I would imagine there's some with it.
Yes, there is, and there's actually quite a lot. The quartermaster informs Sister Francesca that there's another entire container on its way, because this isn't just your regular old Prometheum. It's specially produced for these flamers.
It's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. Basically, there's a ton of different types of Prometheum within the Imperium for the various uses, but and they've provided
flamer fuel is high grade stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And
it's up. It's as far as I remember. It's up there, right underneath the stuff they put in the tank of Razorbacks and Land Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. And so for those of you not in the know, Razorbacks and Land Raiders are heavy
tanks.
They're tanks basically.
Land Raiders are just about the heaviest tank the Imperium has.
Yes.
Well, no, the Space Marines have. They have the Imperial Guard have heavier ones.
Yep.
It is the Bane Blade.
Yeah.
And Shadow Sword and many others. Yes, the super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
So
I'm still thinking about spinning tops that you shoot out and then a dragon comes out when you say Bane Blade.
Let me help.
Let it rip!
No.
So what did you say, Aya? So basically what?
Basically, Francesca has what would be the equivalent of Christmas lights in her eyes.
Yeah, she's definitely, yes. And incidentally, I'm just going to link here in the game, there's a link to a Bane Blade. Now, kindly remember that the people this thing is about to crush under its iron treads is, in fact, they are in fact Space Marines, which means that they are about, 2.5 meters tall.
Yeah.
Which should give you some idea of the size of the thing.
Yes.
I feel like it says Bane Blade for when you're finally sick of holding the line.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the Bane Blade is...
They are of an absolutely sick size.
Yes, they are specifically designed for the Imperial Guard to unleash, and I quote, 11 barrels of
barrels
hell.
of hell, yes.
On your enemy.
So no, we're not talking Beyblades.
No.
I feel like sharing anyways. Here are
Here we
6
go.
different Beyblades.
Yes,
And
Pleasure.
I used to collect these when I was I don't know, a child. I don't know how old
Yeah.
though.
yeah.
But anyway, let's focus on the grim darkness of our future, not.
I'm
not-
still kind of disappointed that the Baneblade is in fact not a giant top of death shooting fire and brimstone in each direction as it spins,
Well,
crushing enemies underneath.
well,
It's pointy tip.
Well, there might exist something like that from the dark age of technology that we haven't yet discovered. So
That
who
is a
knows?
good point. There might.
Yes, there might. But let's say that in the Heine version of the 41st millennium, that's not the case.
That is in
Oh,
fact
okay.
not the case. No.
Aww.
You
I
might.
wanted to
what
see that
the
too.
fuck is this?
A death
Oh,
top.
this is sick.
Oh, what have you found?
I found a picture of a so-called Land Raider Crusader variant.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just gonna show
Let's-
you the
let's
biggest
see
picture
it.
here. This thing is obscene.
Look at that.
For when
cannon.
for when a single penis extension isn't enough, you get
Not exactly. That thing is obscene.
Yep. That is
sure
the 41st
It
millennium.
really
for you.
is quite. I don't know. There's something phallic about it, more so than normal.
I think perhaps for the sake of
yes.
I think for the sake of the listening audience, we need to refocus.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're going to lose subscribers.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Or we might gain more.
Yeah, who knows?
God.
Who knows? In any event, the quartermaster Q, what's his face? I forget his name.
Quasar.
Just call
Quasar.
him Q, like in a bond.
It
Yeah.
is cute.
It is
Good
Q.
Lord.
QQ.
No, he doesn't QQ.
He doesn't QQ.
Maybe after he's known Medea for a while, but not now.
He fair. He looks at Sister Francesca, and it's clear to him that Sister Francesca is basically for her it is Christmas, even though Christmas isn't a thing. But
No, it's the
equivalent.
feast of the Emperor Ascendant.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Either that or Sanguinala or something.
Yeah.
Yes, something. Yes.
And so he lets her have her moment of joy before he says, "So, sister,
yes.
I imagine that like I said, I'll set aside a section of the armory for your gear and leave it in the boxes, and then let you notify me if you need any help unboxing."
Indeed. I will do so. And again, thank you for the for your assistance with this.
Mm-hmm.
It has been. It is very nice to have. It is very nice to have, quite frankly, competent assistance with something like this.
Well, you are going to purge the unclean with it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Then in that case, it has been my pleasure.
She nods to him, and then she heads over to the practice range because
Sure.
stuff needs to burn.
Okay, so she heads over to the shooting range. Tim, incidentally, is there as well. By the time she gets there. So yeah.
Yes. So if only someone was there to quote an ironic imperial prayer as she took that weapon away.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Well, Tim nods at her as she enters. She asked him to get here, so he doesn't actually know why he's here.
No. I mean, she does look when she gets there. She says, "Well, you weren't there when we talked about when we started making plans for what to do, heading back down to the Middle Hive. But I would like to hear if you have any ideas or input."
Would you remind me, just in case I've forgotten anything? What was the plan?
Well, the idea and the plan, as we've been talking about it, is to go down once again to the Middle Hive and basically resume what the plan that we started on before the whole mess in the cathedral got underway. Because, frankly, we didn't get very far, but we did pick up or that's a misnomer. You and Medea picked up some very interesting tidbits of heretical speech from the locals down there, and it is my hope that if we give them a day, maybe a day and a half before we go back down there, whoever is behind this heresy will have crawled back out from under their rocks, and we might be able to start hearing some more tidbits and maybe start tracking down individual cells of these creatures. One of the things I'm really keen on us doing is to take at least one, preferably several prisoners and bring them back here to the Tricorn, because imagine what would happen to them if they were put through the procedure you and I just went through. I think we might learn something interesting.
He looks thoughtful and says, yeah, I could see that working. I won't, of course, be able to bring my rifle if I'm going to go undercover, but...
What you can disassemble it, can't you?
True.
Then we shall simply have to make sure that you have some kind of bag in which to carry the parts. I mean, I would not feel particularly happy letting you walk around down there unarmed.
Well, I still have a pistol.
Well, yes, but... yes, you do.
The only point of worry I would have is that while Scum might come out of hiding after a few days, it would also give the Scum more time to hide if that's what they want.
Indeed. But I would imagine, quite frankly, that the first thing they've done, pretty much while I was standing bickering with the Adeptus Arbites, they were probably already going to ground.
He nods, because that makes sense.
Yeah. And getting them to start talking again. The point is that even if they have hidden, normal people, such as the ones that you and Medea heard talking, might, or I'm not even going to say might, but they are far more likely to, they're going to be quiet for a day and a half, maybe. They're probably going to
whisper in the corners.
If they are going to say anything, it's going to be very low whispers in the corners, yes, but they're not going to be talking to like-minded individuals in the street until they feel that it is safer to do so. And then once they feel it is safer to do so, and then Achelon and I suddenly show up again, they're going to start talking because, oh shit, last time they were there, somebody got executed, and a moment later stuff happened in the cathedral. And when they get nervous like that and start talking, that's when you and Medea will hopefully be able to pick up more information. I mean, we need places and we need names.
In terms of capturing someone, it might be possible for you and Achelon to cause some of them to attempt to flee, and then Medea and I could help them into a trap.
That might be possible, yes. If we manage to, shall we say, flush some of them out, she says, and at this point she actually puts one of the canisters of promethium into the flamer and smiles and turns around towards the targets, and she pushes the trigger and lets a long stream of white hot flame engulf this thing. And then she turns back around and looks at Tim and says, as I was saying, we can probably flush some of them out.
Just be careful. I don't imagine they'll be very talkative if you give them a dose of that.
No, that's probably true. I shall only do so if I have no other choice.
Of course. But that is impressive.
It is highly useful, I have to admit.
I should not like to be near it. Well, on the receiving end of it.
I understand what you mean.
Today has been some day.
Yes, it has indeed. I have to say that I am happy. I am genuinely pleased that we are allowed to continue with this, because I was worried that the Inquisitor might feel that someone more experienced than us should take over. But we started this. We should see it through to the end.
Besides, someone more experienced might be better known around here.
It's possible, indeed. Even if they're not, it's still simply a matter of this whole affair started on basically on our hunch.
He nods.
And it would be strange to not see it through.
Hopefully, we can find a few leaders and take them out.
We can hope.
I don't imagine that will effectively stop the heresy from spreading, but it should slow it down.
Yes, and ultimately, of course, it is the goal has to be to end it entirely. But obviously, before we can do such a thing, we will need a lot more information than we have now.
He nods.
So, I would say by tomorrow evening, we should probably start making our way back down there.
Have you then plans for the day?
For the rest of today? Getting familiar with this.
And the day tomorrow, before we set out?
Well, obviously, prayer takes up a lot of time.
Of course.
But ensuring that everyone has whatever they need, equipment-wise, and I would also say that one thing that we should do, and I'm probably going to go in a little while, I'm going to go and help Achelon with that, because we did hear some expressions used, such as towers of bone and forgotten gods and so on. And however vile and disgusting such terminology might be, if there is anything written down about previous encounters with similar heresy, it would be found in the Tricorn's library.
I'll leave that to you. You just need to point me at the right direction and tell me who to shoot.
Yes. I figured that considering how precise you are with your rifle, it would be a good idea for me to have something that would be useful up a little closer with this one.
That's definitely a smart idea, and you do attract attention.
I do. Also, the rules of the orders state to never carry more than 2 weapons at any given time. And one of them is usually a bolter, one of them at least, or a bolt pistol. I will continue to carry the bolter for a while, just in case I need to make a single target hit. But this has, let's face it, this particular weapon has incredible intimidation value.
Undoubtedly. He looks thoughtful, and then he says, speaking of reading about heresy, I was wondering, would one need to actually read the words to be tainted, or is it enough to merely look at them in case of corrupting words?
I think Achelon would know more of that than I would, but I imagine and this is simply my guess and my belief, that if you can't read what they say, if you don't know how to read, for example, it would not be the risk would be somewhat lessened at the very least, but there would probably be very powerful vile and horrible creatures of the warp who could write things that could corrupt you simply by looking at them.
I should like to know.
Of course,
Overconfidence is a flimsy shield.
it is a very eloquently put point. Yes, it is indeed a very flimsy shield. As I said, I'm sure Akalon knows more of that.
I shall have to ask him. But first, I feel like I should probably actually use the shooting range now that I'm here. And he draws his pistol to practice.
Yes, well, Francesca spends another maybe half an hour there with the flamer just to get the feel of the weight and how to make a good spread and so on, and then she heads to the library.
Okay. And did Tim want to join them in the library as well? At some point, did he need to talk to Akalon, or did I mishear?
He won't join them in the library simply because he can't read, so he would feel very much out of place. He does want to talk to Akalon, but not today. He's had enough unpleasantness.
Okay, so once he's done at the shooting range, he'll retire for the day. Or
yes.
Okay,
I
cool.
think so.
We'll get to the library shortly. I just need to run past Medea if there's anything specific she wants to do before retiring for the evening.
She's trying on clothing.
Cool.
And having issue how the hell she's going to put on overalls, because there's leg holes and then there's really long straps that makes no sense.
Cool. So she spends some time getting to terms with this strange and exotic.
It's not that she hasn't seen it on, it's just she's never really thought about how they actually attach those things.
Right. Okay.
How would she know? She uses belts for everything to keep stuff.
That's a good point. Good point. Okay, so...
Also, it's way too clean. How are you going to do any work in this?
Yeah, that is true.
So
Quite
to her,
the mystery.
It's very fancy clothing that you shouldn't ruin, as if it was Sunday's best, and it isn't only just a pair of overalls.
Oh.
Not sure.
Okay, cool. Except in reality, it really is something you should just wear and until
it's the kind you see carpenters and other people work in and paint in, and yeah,
absolutely.
But to her, it's just a new set of clothing, and it's too nice.
Yeah, cool. But it makes all kinds of sense considering where she's from. So.
And what she's usually been wearing, because that's
absolutely.
on her picture.
Absolutely. Cool. Okay, so Sister Francesca goes to the library, and who does she accuse of the foul murder when she reaches the library?
Oh, obviously that has to be Colonel Mustard, and he used a candlestick.
Cool, works. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, she finds Akalon in the library.
I was very confused for a moment.
You haven't played Clue?
I haven't played it. I know what it is, and that's why it was only a moment.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, this is me where I jump in with a Britishism or an Anglophile moment. In England, or at least in Britain, it's Cluedo. I don't know why adding a dough on the end of it makes it any better, but that's just how we do it.
It's because dough makes bread, and bread is good. As
far as I know, it's Cluedo here in Denmark as well, but I think the original, or at least in the US, it's called Clue. I might be mistaken.
It is Cluedo in Denmark, although they call it Cluedo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Danish. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Anyway,
Sister Francesca finds Accolon in the library.
Yes. And, well, obviously, a library is a place to be quiet, but she still heads over to him, and she tries, before she sits down, she tries to see if she can find. I'm sure there's a cogitator or something similar in there for her to do a search on the various texts, because I imagine that the library is extensive.
It is, and
Yes.
there is a cogitator, and its only purpose, its single purpose, is exactly what you mentioned:
Yeah.
to search the library.
Yes. So she searches for these clue words that we heard of, the throne of what was it? The throne of
Bones.
bones. Yes, and
Or
there was the
Towers of Bone.
Hello.
Tower of Bone, and and
Forgotten
the
palaces, forgotten gods, and towers of bone.
yes. Thank you very much. Those are the ones I searched for.
Okay.
Because I wrote down all my clues.
Your
Good.
clues. Okay. So the thing is, I need to find my skills, because where's the list? There it is. Could you roll me a search test?
A search test.
Yes, it's a basic skill in case you don't
Yes.
have it.
Let me just have a look. I don't think I do, actually. No, I don't.
It runs on perception.
Yes. Christ almighty. Oh, it's not actually as bad as it could have been, considering I roll against 14.
Mm.
So, yeah. Nope, I don't think I succeed in finding anything.
You don't want to re-roll so you can roll against 14 again?
No.
But your chances are so high.
Yes.
Well, so the thing is, it's not that you don't find anything at all, even on a miss. It just takes a while, and
Oh, alright.
you get a single ping, which is because you don't find anything on the exact phrases, but there is, when you type in, you press the runes and you spell forgotten gods. There is a reference to one of the books and in the library, and the issue is that you need to find that book then, and that is what takes a while for Sister Francesca, is to find this book within the library, because unfortunately it's not the most organized library in the galaxy of man, but you do find it after a time, and you also spend some time rummaging through its pages. Do you take the time to read the pages in detail, or do you skim through the pages until you reach what you seek?
I think she actually takes the time to read it.
Okay.
It is fairly important that we know what this is about.
Okay. So, what you do find is a reference to a forgotten god. There's no name for this god, but the idea is that it's a god once worshipped on one of the planets in the fringes, in the outer fringes of the Calixtus sector. Who was the planet suffered exterminatus by the Inquisition.
That is heavy.
That is very heavy. And for Tim and Medea, or Rasmus and Aya's sake, exterminatus is basically the destruction of a planet,
The planet is still there, but it is virus.
It is.
It's virus bombed and nuked.
Yes.
And
Uninhabitable.
With fire bombs to such an extent that
Yes.
nothing lives. It's a dead rock afterwards.
It becomes a dead world. And that is something the Inquisition can do. It is something they do fairly rarely, but it is within their power.
It does happen, but
Yeah.
because of the fact that every single Inquisitor in the Imperium has the authority to do this.
Yes.
But every time they do it, they also cost the Imperium a potential world full of resources that they can use. So consequently, obviously, it's something that they only do in the most extreme of cases.
Yes. The thing is, in the paragraph that mentions this plan, it is just a paragraph in this tome that is basically a treatise on exterminatus and when and if and how and so forth. But in this paragraph, there is the mention of 10 items that were basically the cause of this exterminatus. There is no detailed description of them, but there is a specific mention of 10 items.
Oh yeah, I'm suspecting at least that we just found one of them down in that cathedral, but of course I have no basis for that because, as you said, no description of them. But Francesca, that would be Francesca's deduction, is that there is at least a reasonable chance that one of these things has just been found in a cathedral to the God Emperor in the middle of Scintilla.
Mm-hmm.
Because yippee, and don't we all just love the idea of firebombing this place into rubble?
So look out for nasty, nasty thingies that make you feel bad when you look and touch them.
Oh, yes. She, once she has read this, she looks over the table to Achelon with a very serious look on her face.
Yeah, he looks up.
And she pushes the book over and points to that place in the where she got to and says, "You might want to read this paragraph."
He does so.
And explodes.
Well,
no.
He doesn't quite explode, but he does get one of those fancy visions. Basically, the good Achelon finds himself standing in front of a black pyramid of titanic size, and atop this pyramid stands an armored figure. And even though this figure is far away because this pyramid is of immense size, it is clear to Achelon that it is a figure clad in black armor. And around this figure's head floats 10 things, items. And the heavens above are it's basically a vortex of wind and energy. And then he snaps back to the present and to the library.
You look pale.
Achelon taps the side of his head, looking back up from the paragraph, and says, "Reading this gave me another vision."
You're closely aligned to this.
Yes, and I don't know whether to be. Well, I am worried, but at the same time, I feel as if I should. I almost feel strangely pleased if it means we can make progress.
It is certainly a weapon to be used. There's no question of that. However, the salvation of your soul is also clearly a consideration.
Yes. I consider that every day, believe me.
I imagine so. That being said, we should not, I believe, seek out anything that can cause you greater harm. But the more we can learn from these visions, the better. And I would quite strongly suggest that you start writing down precisely what it is you see, and that you use this library to see if you can find any kind of reference to anything similar. Because all I did was seek for the catchwords of what the other two heard on the street down in the Middle Hive. And if you see things even more detailed, then I'm certain that you could you might be able to find more detailed information.
You are correct. Sound suggestion, yes. Yes. Achelon, sort of, obviously still in a bit of shock, hence how he's talking. He reaches for a fresh scrap of parchment from among the pile he'd been using to practice, and
Yes.
first he writes down what was in this most recent vision, and then sort of starts thinking back on what he saw in the others. And a thought comes to him that, which he voices actually as he stops to think about it. Tied to this, there was something that Trina mentioned regarding my homeworld. I didn't think much of it apart from the tragedy, but might be worth inquiring with her further about it.
What was it?
Party of Seth was attacked. A traitor regiment, she said. They attacked Port Calling, the capital, and my hometown. Thousands of casualties.
Traitor regiment could mean several things. I'm assuming she was referring to the Imperial Guard.
That was the impression I got. It could be, and most likely is, a coincidence, but, well, the Inquisition doesn't deal in coincidences, so
Nope.
it is at least worth checking.
I think you are correct. We are planning to go back to the Middle Hive by the end of tomorrow. So you have a little time to make inquiries and possibly get Trina to look into things if you wish. And then we leave by then. Please make sure, just in case you do not come back, or any of us don't come back from this, there is always that chance, let's face it. Please make sure that before we leave, you have taken down as detailed notes as you can about your visions, so that they can be found and used by anyone coming after.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. She gets up and nods to Achelon and walks out.
Okay.
I will just point to the time.
Yep.
And say maybe it's
Break time?
It's break time. We'll take a short break and then we'll
yes.
come right back.